Hello again to everyone that came back. If this is your first time here, welcome. I've decided today not to be driving while I do this, although I'm still in my car. Figured it's a little bit safer this way. So today I want to talk to you about something a little more serious that's even affected me in my life. If you've ever heard of the Trevor project or It Gets Better videos, this is where I'm going with that. And now if you've seen those, you've heard everything I'm going to say before. You know, the whole, you're not alone, it gets better. You'll be fine, there's nothing wrong with you, stand tall, be proud of who you are. Know you have friends. You know, you're loved, you're not alone. People's minds will change and you should be alive to see that. Differences should be celebrated. Remember that. I mean, there's only you. There's no one else like you. And if you've been bullied or teased, or even physically abused because of that, because of who you are, just remember, you don't have to change. I mean, you're you for a reason. You're beautiful. And even if you don't think so, I do. Because in the end, I mean, even though my opinion shouldn't matter to you, I hope it does. Even though the Trevor Project and It Gets Better is aimed toward the LGBTQ community, you don't have to be one of those people in that alliance to be a supporter. You just have to be human. I mean, it's easy to sit behind a camera now and talk. I've had personal experiences myself where people have assumed I'm a member of the LGBTQ family, and it's been pretty brutal. I mean, I've gotten many of a threat of people thinking I'm gay. And it's not fun at all. Like, I can't imagine the people who are actually going through that every day of their life when it's true, and what they must be thinking to try and change themselves. I mean, it's just heartbreaking to think of. What really changed for me was, it was so important to lose everything, because I found what the most important thing was to me. The most important thing was to be true to myself. That's what got me here. I mean, through that problem. I don't live in fear anymore. I have no secrets, and I know I will always be okay. Because no matter what, I know who I am. Which is what the people who are going through that should also know. You shouldn't live in fear because you know who you are. The people who are doing the bullying and the teasing, maybe they don't know who they are, and that's how they're trying to figure it out. It's the completely wrong path to take, but who knows what's going through their minds at this time. And that's the thing too, is I feel successful doing this. When I was younger, I had a completely different idea of what success was. I thought it was maybe being famous or being extremely wealthy. My idea of success now is something completely different today. The definition is always changing. Success is to live your life with integrity and to not give in to peer pressure to be something you're not. Success is to be honest and contribute in some way. Follow your passions, stay true to yourself, never follow someone else's path, and in the end, to be you, to be brilliant. And that's really the best way to look at that area, is to just be you. And now, another thought that I've been thinking of lately is, I'm very suspicious of people who say criticizing your government is unpatriotic. I know we're in Canada, and people don't really stick with the term patriotic, even though we should. I mean, it's not just an American thing. Someone once said, dissent is the highest form of patriotism. And I fully believe that. The world you want to live in, the country you want to live in, is shaped by people who care. And by people who may not always agree with what the country wants to do. And really, you might not always agree with what the country does. And that's just normal. I mean, right now there's a lot of things in Canada I don't agree with what's happening on. And some might say that's unpatriotic. I don't. I believe that's just how it should be, really. We should realize that there are so many things that tie us together rather than the things that keep us apart. Which are the imaginary things, like a flag or a border. It breeds a sort of mob mentality when you're rooting for your own self-interest and country that you completely forget that there's another side to your story. You get so... I don't want to sound like a social lecture, but you become very ethnocentric, where you become very North American biased. Like Canada and America are always right, which is not true. There's been many of a time where the European side or the Middle Eastern side might have a legit story to it. I know I get in a lot of bad arguments with people about the September 11th attacks, who they believe the attacks on the Twin Towers were the first strike when they weren't. That's a completely different story, and I'm sorry if anyone's being offended by this. But the September 11th attacks were an act of revenge from when the Americans took down 2 towers in Lebanon. And they figured, hey, they took down our towers, we'll take down theirs. Yeah, it was 20 years later, so it was kind of forgotten about, but it was still revenge, which I don't agree with as much, because, I mean, it's still killing innocent people, either way. But, yeah, just remember there is both sides to the story. And also, it's not important to me that if friends agree with me about everything I believe in, but it's important that you're not neutral. I want people who care about something one way or another, that they've thought about it and they've taken a stand on their opinion. I don't want someone that's just like, meh, the fair weather person who's like, oh yeah, you're right, but no, I don't know. Those people I can't stand. Take a stand in what you believe in. And if you don't know what you believe in, learn about it. Know what to think. It's not that hard. There's something happening out there, though. I can feel it. Sounds weird. But it's like a restlessness that lives inside of us all. It's an uncertainty that brings every day. But there is something else, too. There's a potential for change. A very radical change. And that's what makes all of this exciting. Every day we live in, it's completely brand new, and we have no idea what to expect. And that is what this is all worth it for. Again, I'll just recap what I've been talking about now. The Trevor Project, support it. It gets better. Watch the videos. They are very powerful. If you're going through those problems, I'm very sorry for you. I kind of know your pain, but no one can ever know someone else's pain completely. And, yeah, until next time, be brilliant.